Hello, I do have a little fuzzy bug here with me today. He seems a little out of sorts, so maybe he will stick by my side for our recording today. Hey folks, welcome. This is Gently Chaotic Knits, and my name is Emily, and I live in Seattle, Washington with my husband Ovis and our pup Norman, who is right next to me, just out of frame right now. Let's see, should I scoot down just a touch? I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. Now it's pointing in a weird way. Oh my goodness. I don't know. I probably should have made sure that it was set up the way I liked it before I started, but everything is a little weird today. The lighting is really bad. I normally do just natural lighting for these videos, but it is too dark. It is actually 10 a.m. on Monday, October 24th in Seattle, Washington, and it is so overcast and cloudy outside that it was too dark recording without lights on inside. So unfortunately we do have some lights on inside. Try to do some nice like warm light, but it's gonna make colors weird. I don't know. I feel like it's gonna be weird, but this is normally a mostly knitting video podcast. I'll sometimes talk about some other stuff that I'm up to, and boy is this gonna be a long one. I feel like I've been much less regular with my podcasting recently, and so every time I start these videos, I feel like I'm saying, this is going to be a long one. It's been forever since I last recorded, but this really has been. I feel like it's been almost a month, and so much has happened during that time. I went to Rhinebeck, and so I'm going to talk about that and all the stuff I got and how much fun that was. Maybe share some pictures as well during this episode, but I also had a couple of other trips that I went on, and we are getting into the fall season, and so we're starting to do like all of our fall activities, and I've been knitting a lot, and yeah, I just feel like there's seriously so much. I took my notes last night for this episode, and I can't believe how much I have to share with you all. So I'm gonna I wasn't sure if I should split this up and do like a separate Rhinebeck episode, which is just about like the time I had there and all the yarn I got and stuff. But I also have like my knitting, and I don't know. I decided I'm gonna try if my camera battery and my computer and everything and my voice and everything allow me to do this. I'm gonna try to do it all in one. So just everything. You'll get Rhinebeck stuff, but you'll also get other stuff, and you can like pick and choose what you want to listen to and like jump around. But let me tell you, should I do like a table of contents and like the order that I'm going to talk about things? I'm going to start out by just talking about like normal podcast stuff. So what I've been knitting. Sorry, Norman is trying to get himself under his blanket. Also, long viewers of the podcast will remember my corduroy pants that have the fabric going different ways. I am wearing those today. So, okay, table of contents. Start out, I'm going to do normal podcast stuff. So I'm going to talk about my finished objects and what I'm knitting on and all of that. Then I'm going to go into a acquisition section, and I'm also, at that time, I'm going to talk completely about Rhinebeck. So I'm going to talk about where we went and what we did and include some pictures and everything. So that will be like acquisitions and Rhinebeck. I have a couple of other acquisitions that are not Rhinebeck related, so then I'll do those. And then I'm going to have like a hefty life section at the end, which you guys can skip if you want to, like if you don't want to hear about that, because there's been a lot that's been going on. And so, yes, that's the plan. So skip ahead if you want to. I don't know, maybe I should try to put like timestamps here or something so you can jump to the parts you want to jump to. I don't know. We'll see how fancy I get in editing. I'm also getting my COVID booster shot this afternoon. So if I feel wiped from that and I'm not like feeling like editing a ton after that, then it may be much simpler and there may be fewer photos and all of that. Okay, let's get into it. I feel like I have precious time. My battery and my computer and my SD card all can only take so much, so I need to be focused today, which y'all know is not always the easiest for me. So I guess before I start all that, I can talk about what I'm wearing. I already talked about my pants. I'm also wearing hand knit socks. These are, this is just like a vanilla sock, but I also did this like stripy thing on the toe. I don't know if you guys can see it. The yarn is like a plucky knitter. The main color is like a plucky knitter yarn that I got from Church Mouse, which is a yarn store that used to exist on Bainbridge Island in Washington and now is online only, but I got it at Church Mouse one year. And then the yellow, I think, is from the Nifty Knitter, which is a yarn store in Issaquah. And it's like their in-house yarn. I don't remember what that's called. Sorry, I'm not prepared for that, but I love these socks. The sweater I'm wearing today is I think it's September sweater by Petit Knit, and I used Woolberry Fiber Co. in, I think, their worsted base, and this colorway is Mulled Wine, which I think was a collective colorway, but my friend who is in the collective gifted this to me because y'all know, if you know me, you know I love a good dark red, and this like had to be. She saw it and she's like, okay, I have to buy some of this for you because I know you'll love it. So that is what I'm wearing. I don't remember what size I knit. I am wearing it. It is way too long for my liking and I really want to shorten it. But I have not taken the time to do that yet because it involves pulling out the tubular and then picking up brioche. So I have just delayed that and now I just tuck it into my pants. So, which maybe I should just leave it like that and that'll be fine. Okay, we need to keep going. I need to keep going. I have some tea with me today. I'm drinking pumpkin tea. It's like a pumpkin, I can never say this word right. Rooibos. People who know tea know what I'm talking about. And it's called like pumpkin cream and it's really good. It smells good and yeah. My friends that I went to Rhinebeck with, some of them are very big tea drinkers and I like tea and I have tea, but I never it's not a part of my routine. So I'll drink it sometimes, but I forget all the time. And we had tea like multiple times a day when we were at Rhinebeck, and it's gotten me back into like a routine of drinking tea, and so I've been drinking tea like almost every day. And my husband has been under the weather, and so he's been wanting to drink tea as well because it helps his like throat and other stuff feel better. So anyway, I think this may be too hot for me. I can do a little sip. Also, this mug, how beautiful is this? It is. I got it. I may have gotten it later. Wow, y'all, this episode is going to literally be hours long because I cannot focus. I haven't even shown you any knitting yet. I can't focus. But this mug is from a maker called, I think her Instagram is With Her Hands. You should check her out. I got it after we went on a trip last fall to Shenandoah National Park and Great Smoky Mountains National Park, and we drove the Blue Ridge Parkway, and this mug is like the Blue Ridge Mountains, and it's just beautiful. So I have another mug of hers too. Okay, I'm gonna make sure that I stop and I drink tea and I keep myself hydrated and my mouth and throat nice and good so that I can actually do this and go through everything that has happened in the last month. I'm also, I'm so happy to be back talking with y'all. I have been a little bit out of practice podcasting for a while because I've just been having like these weird feelings about it. Just like it wasn't anything super bad. I wanted to be completely in the right headspace to be podcasting and like chatting with you all, and I wasn't. I was feeling a little bit disconnected from it and out of it, and I'm feeling, I think, a little bit re-energized, at least today. I don't know if this is like a lasting thing, but I've missed it. I've missed just sitting down and talking about what I've been working on and what I've been up to, and just, I don't know, sharing that. So we're back and let's get into it. I have some finished objects. I have 2.5 finished objects to share with you all today, and I'm really excited about them. The first one is my red hat for the Life Knit Aquatic, K-A-L, the Life Aquatic knit along that we're doing over at La Mercerie. So you probably have seen this if you're on Instagram. You've seen lots of people posting about their red hats. A while ago, we were at the shop at La Mercerie, which is the yarn store that I work at a couple days a week, and several of us were talking about wanting to knit red hats. I actually already had this yarn in my stash. I was planning to make a red hat, and we were just talking about it, and we decided to go ahead and do a knit along. And so Jess over at La Mercerie has been running this knit along, and yeah, it's so much fun. I knit the classic ribbed hat, which is a free pattern by Purl Soho, and the yarn is Aimee Merino DK in the Eric Northman colorway, which is a beautiful deep dark red. It's very similar actually to the red of my sweater. I love dark red. This is one of my very favorite colors. And sorry, I'm gonna keep sipping my tea. There are multiple sizes. I knit the size adult small. I honestly don't know if I got gauge or not. This cast on, I did it like 3 times. I originally cast on a larger size, and then I messed it up. It was a tubular cast on, and I messed it up, and so I pulled it out, and then I cast it on again, and then I was like, God, this is gonna be too big, and so then I pulled it out, and then I cast on again. It worked. It was the right size. This is, of course, I mean, it's 1x1 ribbing, so it's really, really stretchy. I feel like I need to point the camera down a little bit. I don't know. Ooh. Okay. Is that better? I don't know. Hopefully that's better. Okay. But yeah, it's super, super stretchy, and the yarn is so soft. The fabric is so squishy and soft. I have worn it a couple times since finishing it, and I like to wear it either way, like with it not cuffed and the little like saggy part here. Or I think I like it a little bit better wearing it cuffed as well, which I think is so cute. It still has like a little bit on the top here, mostly probably because I have a very small head. But I don't know, normally when I wear hats, I feel like I look so silly. Like I just look at myself and like, Emily, you look like a potato. Like, why do you look like that? But I don't know, I think it's pretty cute. We went apple picking yesterday, which I will talk more about at the very end, but I got some pictures of me in my red hat that I'm going to share in a few days on Instagram, or I don't know when, some point. But I am very excited about this red hat. So you still have time. I don't remember when exactly the knit along ends. I guess I could try to look that up. No, I'm not going to do that. We don't have time for that. I think there's still like a week and a half or so left in the knit along, so you still have time if you want to knit a hat. You definitely should. And then we are actually doing a viewing party, so if you're local to the Seattle Bainbridge Island area, you should come. We are going to be watching Life Aquatic, not this upcoming Saturday, but the Saturday after that. I think it's the first Saturday in November 5th maybe. And we're having a viewing party at the shop. So I think it's at 7 o'clock, and I will be there. I work at the shop that day, so I'll be staying late, and we'll be hanging out. And, you know, we can all knit on our projects and wear our red hats and watch a movie together. I've actually never seen this movie, so it'll be fun and new for me. So that is finished object number 1. And then finished object number 2 is my Piazza tee. Clearly it's not a tee, sweater. This is a pattern by Sari that I love so much. I knit this as my Rhinebeck sweater. And I will share more pictures of this as well, and we'll talk about it more when I talk about Rhinebeck as a whole. But my friends and I that I went to Rhinebeck with, which, by the way, I think we have a squad name now, and we are calling ourselves Pacific Knit West, a la Salt Lake Knitty for Aro's squad. Aro Knits and Pearls, which you should check out if you have not already. But she has a group of friends in Salt Lake City, and they call themselves Salt Lake Knitty, and I love that. And so we decided we needed a knit girl gang name as well. So we are calling ourselves Pacific Knit West because we live in the Pacific Northwest in Seattle. But my friends and I went to Rhinebeck, and we decided we wanted to make Rhinebeck sweaters together. But rather than all of us knitting the same pattern in different colors, we decided to pick one yarn and all knit different patterns. So the yarn we picked was Ampersand, which is the in-house yarn for La Mercerie, and it is a lovely yarn. If you've not used this yarn yet, you absolutely should. It is a 100% Corriedale wool, and it comes in both a fingering and a DK weight, and we all, I think, ended up using the DK weight. So this is the DK, it's called Jenson DK, and the color we picked is Grisaille 01, which is a nice light cool gray. And I don't know if the color is showing up properly because of the stupid artificial light that I have to have on in my home right now, which is very irritating to me, but we are doing what we can. I have no idea when the light will be better, if ever. Like, this may just be how it is for fall and winter. We may not have natural light. But I knit the Piazza tee, which is a pattern by Sari Nordlund. I think I already said that. I knit, okay, sorry, I feel like I'm missing these. Oh, excuse me. Okay, it is a t-shirt pattern, but I wanted to do long sleeves, so I just made it long sleeves. I literally did nothing to adjust the pattern. I did not even do decreases along the sleeves to do shaping. As soon as I picked up the stitches for the sleeve and I knit a little bit, I was like, I think this is going to be fine to just go straight all the way down. And then I did some pretty rapid decreases just before I did the ribbing, and then I did the ribbing. So it's not quite a bubble sleeve, but it's a little bit. Why don't I put this on? Okay, I may cut while I take this sweater off. Okay, I am back, and this is the sweater, and this is what it looks like on me. I'll scoot back a little bit so you guys can see. But you can see the sleeve. It's not really a full kind of bubble sleeve. It hits at just the perfect length. I like that kind of bracelet length sleeve, so I just kept doing the sleeve straight, no decreases, and then I did a little bit here at the end of decreases. So if you want to make a Piazza sweater rather than a Piazza tee, you absolutely can. I saw other people modify this, and they did do some sleeve decreases, so you can do that too, but I literally just kept knitting it until it was as long as I wanted, and then I decreased and did some ribbing. So that's pretty much it. What else can I say about this? I have the size. I knit the second size, and I think I did actually have to go up a needle to get gauge. I think my gauge was pretty close to on. I don't remember the exact measurements of the sweater, what the measurements are supposed to be, but I have about 3 inches of positive ease. So I have a 33-inch bust, and this is about 36 inches in the bust. Actually, I don't know. I haven't measured my bust recently, so maybe it's changed a little bit, because it seems like a little bit more ease than that. So maybe I have 3 or 4 inches of positive ease. I really like the way that it fits. I think the length is good. I could honestly do a little bit shorter. When I was tucking this into my high-waisted pants and stuff, it was a little bit much to tuck, so I could do maybe a tiny, tiny bit shorter, but she had mentioned in the pattern that you want to get the best result, you want this center repeat to end at one of 2 points in the diamond design, and so I think if I did one less than that, it would maybe be a little bit too short. I don't know, it's hard to say. But I am really happy with it overall. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it is a good length. My instinct is always like cropped. Not too cropped, but like right at the hip bone, and this one is like a little bit longer than that, but I don't know. I'm happy with it. I'm definitely happy with it. What else? I think that's pretty much it. I loved knitting this pattern. I had done like cables and lace and stuff before, and I think last episode when I was talking about this, I kept, maybe not for this one, but another pattern, I was saying lace instead of cables, and it really irritated me when I was watching it back, and so hopefully it didn't irritate you all as well. But I really loved working on this. The cables, especially, this was my first time ever doing baubles, and that was not nearly as bad as I was expecting it to be. I just did a basic knit bauble, and it turned out great. The cable pattern was so engaging, and I just kept wanting to knit more. Like, I really was engaged the whole time. This knit was like incredibly engaging, which is good because I had to knit it so quickly because I knit this in like, I think it was less than a month. I think it was like 3 weeks I knit this before going to Rhinebeck. I actually finished it the night before I left, so I really wanted to finish it. I knew that I had time, so I can talk about this more in a minute, but I was flying to Boston, and I was meeting my husband there. He was actually in Oklahoma visiting some family, and then we met in Boston a few days. So, okay, let me think about the days of the week. We met in Boston, on Sunday? And then Rhinebeck started, or I went to Rhinebeck to meet with my friends on Thursday. So we had a few days before that we went to Acadia National Park. So I knew that I had time, even if I didn't finish this before I left. I still had like a few days before I actually got to the like Rhinebeck part of my trip, because there was a whole part of my trip before that. And I had like flight time and other stuff, so I was like, I knew I was going to finish it. But I really wanted to, finish it before getting on the plane, because it was like a bulky, it was a sweater and it was almost completely done. So it was going to take up a lot of space in my bag and like a lot of yarn, extra yarn that I didn't need to bring and stuff. And so I wanted to finish it before I got on the plane. And I also wanted to be able to block it when we were at Acadia National Park. So like if I was working on it during that time, then it would be hard for me to block it before having to wear it at Rhinebeck. So I finished it. I stayed up really late. Not really late, but later than I should have, because I had to leave at like 5 a.m. or 4:30 or something the next morning to make it to the airport for my flight. But I stayed up until like 11:30 midnight, so I only got like 4 hours of sleep that night, which is fine. It ended up being fine, but I stayed up late because I wanted to finish this. And I did. I finished it, and then I worked on other stuff on the plane. I cast on a new thing on the plane, which I'll share in a second. But yes, I love this. I already have other cabled sweaters planned because of how much fun this was. I'm like, okay, maybe I'm a cable sweater person. Like maybe this is my thing that I love to knit. I have I think I talked about last episode, the Aurelia pullover by Sari Nordlund as well, is a cabled raglan that I am obsessed with. And I think a couple of my friends are going to knit it with me as well. My friend Maya and Nikki, who work at Nursery with me, are also thinking about knitting the Aurelia pullover. And we may have like a little cast on party next week. My yarn has not arrived yet. I am planning to use some Sorella yarn that I ordered from their Autumn in New York pre-order, which we actually got to see this yarn, the Autumn in New York yarn, at a yarn store in Saugerties, New York, which is nearby. And seeing the yarn, it was so beautiful, and I'm just like even more excited to grab some, or to get mine, and to cast on my sweater. One of my other friends that was with me at Rhinebeck actually also got the same color that I ordered, and I'm just so in love with it. And I'm excited for matching sweaters. I love matching sweaters. I love matching everyone. I just want us all to wear matching sweaters all the time that we made ourselves. That is like one of my very favorite things in the whole world. So those are my finished objects. I also have a half finished object that I actually finished yesterday, last night. I didn't work on this a ton. I don't know, I feel like I didn't work on it a ton at all, but I guess it got done, so I worked on it at some point. Honestly, the time I worked on it the most was when I was waiting in line for donuts at the Flower Box, which is a donut bakery near here, which is amazing if you're local to the area. You should go get donuts from the Flower Box. They have their fall flavors right now, and it was incredible, but you do have to wait in line. But I knit on this sock for a while I was in line at the Flower Box, and then I knit on it some yesterday when we were driving back from apple picking, and I finished it. I finished it last night. I put the toe in. This is just a basic vanilla sock, and it is 56 stitches, I think. I knit on a US size 0, so I both have really small feet, and I think my small circumference gauge is really loose, so I end up having to do a US size 0 when I knit socks, and it's still, I feel like, I don't know, it still feels a little bit loose, or I don't know, like the stitches just don't look as tight as you would expect for a US size 0. If I press this button, will it help? There we go. Okay, there's, yeah, I don't know. Doesn't it feel like it should be tighter for a US size 0? I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. But look at this yarn. Is it not just the most fun thing? It's so fun. The yarn is Ovis, etc. Igneae, which is their fingering weight base that we carry at La Mercerie. It is a wool, Aimee, and silk blend. And Aimee, if you're unfamiliar, is a plant fiber. And so it's nice and sturdy for socks. I also have knit a t-shirt out of this yarn and loved that as well. The colorway is called Confetti, Pine, and Pink, and we carried a couple, this like shipment that we got from them, we carried a couple that have these like little speckles on them. This was the green one with pink speckles, but we also have a gray one with white speckles, and I'm planning to make a pair of socks for my husband with this one. Don't know when I will do that or when I will cast that on. I'm going to switch back to my red sweater. Okay, pause. I'm going to switch back to my red sweater. Okay, I'm back in my red sweater. I'm going to take a sip. And we're going to keep going. I'm almost at 30 minutes here, which means I'll have to make a cut, so all this episode is crazy. But I was talking about this sock. The yarn, yes, is Ovis, etc. Igneae, Confetti, Pine, and Pink. I did 56 stitches. I did a US size 0, and I just did, like, I did not follow a pattern or anything. I just did a basic vanilla sock. I did like a 2x2 rib at the top, and then it was a cuff down. I always do my socks cuff down. It was a heel flap and gusset with just like a basic slip stitch heel, and you know, a square toe, and that's it. And it was just a good thing to have to work on when I was on the go. I'm not sure if I'm going to immediately cast on the second sock because I kind of want to cast on some Halloween socks, which I'll talk about. I got some yarn for that, and I'll talk about that in a second, but I really want to do that. So I never do this. I always like am one pair of socks at a time, knit one sock, immediately knit the next one, but I am excited about these Halloween socks, so I may wait and knit the other one of this later. Excuse me. So yes, that is my half-finished object, and then I have a couple of works in progress. So, sorry, stuff is falling out of my bag. Let me show you those. So my first work in progress, actually, I don't know if I should show this or not. It's a gift. Okay, I'm going to say, sorry, I just got cut off like I expected to. I was about to share a work in progress that I have, and I realized that it is a surprise. It's a gift for someone who I know watches this podcast. So I'm going to give her the opportunity to jump ahead and not see if she wants to. So Hannah, my sister, if you are watching this and you don't want to see something that will be coming to you in the near future, then you should skip ahead. And I'm not sure how much. Maybe I will try to look and give you a timestamp for where to skip to, but if you don't want to see this, then you should skip ahead. So, hopefully she is gone. And now, or if she wants spoilers, then she can get spoilers. Like, that's, I leave it up to her if that is something she wants to do. But I am knitting some mitten liners for my sister Hannah, kind of for her birthday, which is in like 3 days, so I'm not going to have them done for her birthday. So I will just send them to her whenever I finish them. But my sister moved to Wisconsin at the beginning of this year, and it is about to be winter in Wisconsin, and I think it will be very cold. Well, I know it will be very cold there, and so I wanted to send her something like really cozy and just, I don't know, like to keep her warm for the winter. So I decided to knit her some mittens and mitten liners from the book Knits About Winter, which is a book, I believe the whole book are designs by Emily Foden. The soiree sweater that I knit is from that book. And it's just super, super cozy patterns. But they had this mitten liner pattern, and they also have a really cute mitten pattern as well that you can wear together. So mitten liners, I did not know were like a thing, but I guess it's just like a really soft, thin liner, like mitten that you wear inside of your other mittens. So the pattern calls for like fingering weight yarn, and what I actually did is I took 2 lace, I just dropped a ton of stitches because I was putting it on my hand. I grabbed 2 lace weight yarns and I'm holding them together. So one strand is this compatible cashmere from Knitting for Olive. This we carry at La Mercerie. It is a lace weight 100% cashmere yarn. Let me make sure that that's true and I'm not lying to you. I need to find my labels. Where is it? Here it is. Yes, it is 100% cashmere. So it feels so soft, and it's a lace weight yarn. The colorway I have here is Nordic Beach, which is a nice light gray color. So really beautiful. I don't know if this will focus. There we go. And I'm holding it with this, which is a fluffy mohair from Biches. This color is, I think, gray beige. And I'm holding these two together to make this, which is the most dreamy fabric. Let's see if this will focus. There we go. Here it is. Sorry, my finger, I cut myself with a knife the other day, so there's a little bit of a red mark there, but it is really fluffy, but really soft, and I think it will make the perfect mitten liner. So I started this while I was on my trip and have not made a ton of progress because I actually cast on the pattern called for a US 1.5 needle, I believe. Sorry, I'm losing stitches again. I need to just put this down. The pattern called for a US 1.5 needle, and I was like, I'm not going to gauge swatch for a mitten, like this is small enough already, I'm just going to start. So I started with the US 1.5, and after a while I was like, this is way too big. So I was like, I should have known this, because whenever I knit socks, I always have to go down several needle sizes to get gauge, because I guess my small circumference knitting is just really loose. But I recast on with a size 0, and I think the size will be much better now. I'm knitting the smallest size. I think my sister's hands are similarly like to the size of my hands, so I'm just like trying it on as I go, and I think that will work. And then I got yarn actually at Rhinebeck to knit some mittens, so I'll show you guys that in a little bit. But yeah, mitten liners from Knits About Winter, Knitting for Olive compatible cashmere Nordic Beach, Biches Le Petit Silk and Mohair gray beige, and size small US 0 needle. So don't think I can finish these and get them in the mail to her before her birthday, which is on Thursday, and today is Monday. Don't think I'll be making that. But also because I need to make the mittens as well. This is just like the first step, and this is the first mitten liner. So okay, my last work in progress, actually that's not true, I have another one, but it's a secret and I can't talk to you about it, and I actually was really nervous I was actually accidentally going to show it, and so I put all of that stuff in a bag and I removed it from my couch. It's like, stay away. Do not accidentally show the secret yarn. Stay away. And I have worked on that quite a bit, so I'm sad I can't show it yet, but stay tuned. I will be able to show you later. My next work in progress, which is in this very cute bag that I got at Rhinebeck, which I'll talk about in a second as well. I feel like I said that so many times today. It's just so much talking about it in a second. And my previous whip was in this bag, which I shared last time, that I made. I quilted this bag. Amazing. Can you believe it? I cannot. And it's just like the perfect fall vibe. I feel like this bag is very, very good in fall. Okay, in this bag, I have my other work in progress, which is the Lunati by Charissa. She is CL Knits on Instagram. And it is just the most fun, like 0 to negative ease, little t-shirt with a mock neck. It's in a 2x2 broken rib, and the yarn I'm using is Rerum Natura Albertine, which is a yarn also that we carry at La Mercerie. It is a fingering weight, and it is a wool and silk blend, and it feels so good, so squishy. This was absolutely the perfect yarn for this project. My friend, who also works at the store, Maya, she decided, we had been talking about this pattern actually before the pattern was released, and we're like, oh, this is so cute, we want to make it. And she decided she wanted to use Albertine for hers, and I was like, I love that idea. I need to use Albertine for mine as well. So hers is in, I think, Crepsicle, which is like the darkish gray blue color, and I decided to do mine in Orgeat, Orgeat, I don't know how to say that, Orgeat, and it is just this beautiful creamy color. I was considering also like a rusty red color as well, but I thought the neutral would just be more wearable and I would like it more. So it was one of those things. I actually did a poll on Instagram asking y'all whether I should do the cream or the rust, and more people voted for rust, and that solidified to me in my head that I wanted to do the cream. So I went against your wishes, and I did the cream, and I'm very happy that I did. I think this is going to be so wearable. The only concern I have is that I'm going to get stuff on it, and it's going to get dirty, but that's fine. Also, just with that thought, I had this conversation with my friends at Rhinebeck about wearing your knits, and I know lots of people wear their knits different amounts, and like some people wear their knits all the time every single day, and some people it's like a very special treasured thing that they don't want to get messed up, or they don't want to get dirty, or they don't want to whatever, and so they don't wear it as much, or like only for special occasions. And I totally understand every perspective on this. Like, I think, you know, you should do whatever works for you, but the conversation I had with them was just about how I wear my knits all the time. I wear, especially in fall and winter, and even I was talking to my husband about this yesterday, even in the summer, I wear knits almost every day. Like, especially in winter, I get up in the morning and I put a pair of jeans on and a hand knit sweater. And that is what I wear every single day. And I have sweaters. I have one sweater, my Docklight sweater, that was the second sweater I ever knit, and it is getting, it's in bad shape because I've worn it so much. It's getting holes in the elbows and it has pills all over it. And you would think that that would make me feel really sad, but it doesn't. It makes me feel so happy. Like when I see that sweater and I see the wear and like the shape that it's in, it makes me feel so happy about all the times that I wore it and all the love that it's gotten and the way that it served me. And I just think like in any activity that I'm doing, anywhere I'm going, I would almost always rather be wearing a hand knit sweater. Like that would make my experience better. And I don't know, I just have this idea, especially because I made it myself, that I can make it again if I want to. Like if I rip holes into the elbows, I can mend it, or I can make another sweater that's exactly the same or really similar, or I can make another sweater. Like I've made, now in my wardrobe, I have 20 plus hand knit sweaters that I have made over the last 4 or 5 years. And so if one, I love it so much that I wear holes into the elbows, or that it like is falling apart, or it's so pilly that it's, you know, irreparable, I don't know. You know what I'm talking about. Then I feel like I did something right. Like, it served its purpose, and now I can wear other sweaters I've made, or I can make another one just like it if I want to wear it more. I don't know. So I'm really curious to hear y'all's perspectives on this. Like, do you wear your hand-knit sweaters until you wear them out? Or do you save them for special occasions? Or are they just like beautiful things for you to look at? Or somewhere in the middle? I'm really curious, but I don't know. I'm actually quite proud of my perspective on this. I think it is something I like about myself is that I wear my stuff that I make, and I love it. And it makes my life better to wear the things that I make, like, almost every day. So, anyway, that was a small tangent that I did not need to go on. But I knit the white thing, and I'll love the white thing, and even if I get gross stuff on it and I have to wash it, or even if it doesn't, like, I can make another one, or I'll wear something else that I made. I want to make it the way that I want, and I want to wear it exactly the way that I want, and so I made the white thing, and, well, I haven't finished it yet. I finished the body, so this is... Yeah, and I won't put it on right now because it's kind of hard for me to get the arms out, like my arms out of it, because of the yarn I have holding my arm stitches on hold. So hopefully I'll finish this and I can show you guys what it looks like on next time. It's really cute. I feel like the fit is really perfect on me. It is like negative ease, as you can probably see. And there's also shaping down the body, like on the sides. I don't know if you guys can see that as well. And I kind of messed up the shaping on the sides, I think. Well, okay, I did make a change. I know there's at least, it's different than written because I made a change to the shaping. So the shaping you're supposed to do, like, decreases every 11 rows. But in Broken Rib, it's like every other row is a knit row. And I was like, I really want the decreases to always be on the same type of row. So I did it every 10 rows instead of every 11 rows because I'm that way. I wanted the decreases to always be on the knit rows. So that was one change I made. So my decreases are a tiny bit more rapid than as written. And then I also think I kind of messed up the broken rib around the decreases, but you probably can't really tell. I think it looks fine. So this is, yeah, it does get like slightly skinnier as you go down. It's got this beautiful mock neck, and I did a tubular cast on around the neck and then also at the bottom, or I did a tubular bind off on the bottom. Since it's 2x2 rib, I did have to do the thing where you like kind of rearrange your stitches before you bind off, and also like you rearrange your stitches after you do the cast on before you start knitting. But I think it was worth it. It has a really nice, beautiful edge. And then all I have left to do is the arms, the sleeves, and it's short sleeves, so I don't think it's going to take very long. I think I'll finish this probably in like one more day. So yeah, I'm hoping to finish it so that I can wear it to my Aurelia cast on party with Maya, so that we can wear our matching sweaters while we cast on more matching sweaters, because I love matching sweaters. The other thing I was going to say, sorry, I just remembered this, is that this pattern I did Japanese short rows for the first time. I've always only done wrap and turns or German short rows, and so this was the first time I did Japanese short rows, and it was super easy, and I like the look of it a lot. I think I prefer German short rows to Japanese, but I definitely prefer both German short rows and Japanese short rows to wrap and turns. But the look is really nice. You did have to like use a stitch marker, which was like a little bit fiddly, and so I think I prefer just doing the German short rows, and that's also really natural to me. But I was glad to have learned something new and tried something new. So again, this is the Luna tee, and I think I'll be done with it pretty soon. So yes, okay. We're like 45 minutes in, and I'm just now finishing up what I'm working on, and I have so much more to talk about. Okay, let's keep going. So that is all that I've been working on, all the stuff I finished. Well, that's not all true. I had another project that I cannot share with you. Norman is trying to cover himself again. I don't know if you guys heard him, But he went and he got a drink of water and then he came back and then he did a really big burp and now he's ready to take another nap. So if that isn't just like the life of Norman, I don't know. That's very Norman. Okay, so let's do an acquisitions and Rhinebeck section here now. So I'm going to talk about Rhinebeck. So if you don't know what Rhinebeck is, I probably should have said this at the beginning. Rhinebeck is the name that the knitting community generally uses for the New York Sheep and Wool Festival, which happens in Rhinebeck, New York every October. And there are other kind of events that are associated with Rhinebeck that happen normally, like most of them happen on Friday before. So the New York Sheep and Wool Festival happens on Saturday and Sunday, but there are some other events that happen on Friday that are like kind of part of Rhinebeck weekend, but are not technically part of the New York Sheep and Wool Festival. So Rhinebeck is just, I think people generally use it as like a name for the whole thing. So it is a massive event that a lot of people come to. Like it's packed. This was my first year. I've never gone before and it was so wild. Like, okay, sorry, my battery died, which I kind of expected, and we're on the next one now, and hopefully I can get through this before then. Also, while I was switching my battery, a bird just flew into my window, so that was not the most fun. Actually, it's a little bit lighter. I wonder if I can... Alexa, turn off the tall lamp. I wonder if I can go back to a more natural light. Is this going to be too dark? Is this too dark? I think it's actually okay. We're gonna try it. I think we have maybe just enough light to do. Well, is it too dark? Alexa, turn on the tall lamp. Is that better? I don't know. We'll go with this, I guess, for now. Okay. What was I talking about? I was talking about Rhinebeck. So, New York Sheep and Wool is on Saturday and Sunday, and it was massive. Like, there were so many more people there than I expected, and I was incredibly overstimulated, to be honest with you. It was way more people than I was expecting, and I think there were, like, this was the biggest one yet. I think there were a lot of people there. I think partially because coming off the pandemic, this is the first year with like vaccinations and stuff, people felt really more safe than usual, or than they had in the last couple of years. I know it did, like it happened in 2021, but I think it was a little smaller then, and it was big. There were a lot of people there. So, really happy that I went. Like I mentioned before, my husband and I went to Acadia National Park for a few days before, and I'll talk about that later because I figure there are probably people who don't care about that and would rather just hear me talk about Rhinebeck, and that's totally fine. So, as we were coming back from Acadia National Park, we had a rental car, and I drove Nofis to Boston, where he flew back from Boston back to Seattle to go like pick up Norman, and he did not need to stay for Rhinebeck. He wanted to go back home, and like he had to work and pick up our dog from the folks that were keeping him and everything. So he flew back home from Boston, and then after that, that was on Thursday, I drove to roughly the Rhinebeck area. We stayed at an area, my friends and I met, well, they came and picked me up from the rental car location, but I dropped him off at like 4-ish, a little after 4 on a Thursday in Boston, and then there was traffic, of course, because it was close to rush hour in Boston. So I had quite a bit of traffic, and then there was a horrible storm while I was driving to New York, and I drove for like 4 hours in pitch black, pouring rain, so much so that like I had my windshield wipers on the very highest setting, and it's still like I could not clear the rain fast enough. The wind was blowing so hard that it was blowing the car. Like I could not keep the car straight. It was like blowing it, and it was just the worst not, I won't say actually, I had a worse driving experience in Iceland. This was like probably the second worst driving experience of my life, and I was alone, and I hate driving alone. I hate driving in general, but like this was just the worst experience. So I made it. Luckily, I stopped. This is also, okay, another thing that was happening during this time is that the Mariners were in the playoffs. So the Mariners, if you guys have not followed me for a while, I used to work for the Seattle Mariners as an analyst. I worked there for 4 years. The Mariners are the baseball team in Seattle, Washington, where we live. And they had a really long playoff drought. They had not made the playoffs in 20 years, and they made the playoffs for the first time this year. And I couldn't go to any games because I was in New York and I had other travel plans, and I'm just still heartbroken about that. But fortunately, they won the wild card series, and then they were in the division series, and there was a Mariners game that was actually happening while I was driving, so I was able to listen to the game, and that helped me stay calm a little bit. And then I also, because I was in a rental car and it was like newer and fancier, it had all of these like voice to text features, and my husband was on a plane, and he had internet on the plane, and so he was able to like text me, and I was able to like listen and text back just using like buttons on the steering wheel, which was really cool. Like I didn't even have to, I of course was not going to be like, this was crazy, horrible, hectic driving, and even in general I was not going to be like touching my phone, but it was really nice to just like be able to message him back and forth while I was driving. And we share our location with each other, and because he had internet on the plane, he was like watching my location on the map, and he was like, okay, you're doing great, like I can see your little dot moving, like you're gonna make it. I don't know why I'm getting emotional about this. I feel like that was just very sweet of him to do. And like, you know, he was just texting me about the game and texting me about like my drive and everything, and so that was really nice. That helped me pass the time, but I did eventually make it. I had some other, like, oh my gosh, filling gas for the rental car was a nightmare. Like, the gas stations were messed up and everything was bad, and I don't know. And then I dropped the car at the rental place. And then my friends, they flew in to Newark. There were 5 of us total. So 4 of my Pacific Midwest friends flew into Newark that day, and then they got a rental car and they drove and they picked me up from my rental car location. And then we went to our Airbnb, and it was very cute. I feel like the location was great. It had like all these beautiful trees outside. It had a beautiful deck out in the back, and we took a lot of pictures out there of our hand-knit outfits, and I will put some pictures up as I talk about things. But we took lots of pictures out there, so if you go look at my Instagram right now, it's almost all pictures from our deck at our Airbnb, and we had just like a cozy little area to sit and knit together. We did a puzzle at the Airbnb too, which was so cute and fun. We just had the best, coziest weekend at that Airbnb. But anyway, so we got there Thursday night, got some groceries, and then we were ready Friday to go to, we had tickets both to go to India Untangled and Wool and Folk. So those are both separate events, separate from New York Sheep and Wool. And India Untangled has existed for a long time, I think, but Wool and Folk is a little newer. I think this is just the second year that it existed. And we ended up going to both events. India Untangled we went to first. They had timed entry slots for you to go, and so we went in the first entry slot, and I actually got, because we were in the first entry slot, we got this bag, this India Untangled bag, came with our ticket, which was very cute. So yeah, we went to India Untangled first, and I guess, should I just go in order of like what we did and show you guys the stuff I got as I went? I guess I can do that. So I'm gonna make it like a little sneak peek of a lot of things, but I'm gonna just pull all my yarn out and put it on the couch, and then I'll pull out the stuff I got as we go. Oh, one thing I want to talk about first too is I got to meet some podcast viewers over the weekend. Not as many as I had hoped, because I was really bad at, like, people had reached out to me about meeting, and I was so overstimulated, and the, like, internet and phone connection was bad at times, and I did a really bad job of that. And so that is something I'm going to think about if I go again or if I do other events like this, like how to be in the right mindset to best interact with other people and not get too overstimulated. But I did get to meet some folks, and I had these buttons, and I shared about this on my Instagram. I really love them. They are just like little tiny buttons that I got that have the Gently Chaotic Knits logo on them, and and so I got to give those to folks that came up and said hi, and that was so much fun. Sorry, it's not focusing great. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so I got to give these, sorry my hand's kind of shaky, I'm trying to keep it still, but it's hard. So I got to give these little buttons to folks, and that was really fun. So, yes. But at Indie Untangle, I got this bag. Oh, will it focus back on me now? Yes. There we go. I got this bag, and then I also got this yarn. Oh my gosh. Y'all, this is just like the fluffiest dream. So this was from the Wandering Flock, which has, you guys have probably seen them before. If not, you should definitely check out their yarn. You can find them on Instagram, and they have a website as well. But they have the most fun, they're almost like neon pastel colors, if that is a thing that makes sense. But this yarn is their mohair and silk base. It is 80% kid mohair and 20% silk, and it is the colorway Mother of Pearl, which I think was a special colorway done for Larkspur Knits book, Salt and Timber. She did a sweater that I think used this yarn, and I love it. I almost got a different colorway that was like more rainbowy, and then I just kept getting like drawn back to this one, and I was like, okay, this is the one I love, this is the one I need to get. But it's beautiful, like bluey, greeny, or not green, blue, pink, purple. I guess it was kind of green in parts, and I love it. So I'm not sure yet what I'm going to make with this. I will probably hold it with like a strand of fingering weight yarn and make like some sort of sweater or something with it. I just feel like it was too beautiful to pass up. So that was my first acquisition. And that was, I think, the only thing I bought at Indie Untangled. No, I got some stitch markers as well. I don't know if I have them here. Yes, I got just a set. I think this was from, what is it called? What was the booth called? 29 Bridges? 39 Bridges? 20 something 9 bridges, and they just had some really simple I don't know if this will work. I don't know if you'll be able to see these at all. You probably not. But oh, there we go. They're just like the basic little tiny hexagons. So I just got a set of like little tiny hexagons, and I have put them on this marker. But I did get those at Indie Untangled as well. And was that everything I got at Indie Untangled? I think so. I think that was it. Okay, come back to me. Come back. Please. There we go. Okay, so that was everything I got at Indie Untangled. So we were only there in the morning. They had a couple of like food trucks that had like coffee. I actually got my only apple cider donut of the weekend I got at Indie Untangled because one of the little like food trucks there had apple cider donuts, and I got that there. But that event, so I guess I should talk to you about like what that event is. It's basically just like a yarn, it was like a one-day yarn festival that had yarn vendors. It's a lot more like where New York Sheep and Wool is much more like woolly wools and like milled yarns and you know, that kind of thing. They have a lot of fleece, and I mean it's massive, so there's like all kinds of stuff. But Indie Untangled is much more like indie dyed yarn, and so they had some really great vendors there, like Wandering Flock and some others that was great to see. And then Wool and Folk that we went to next was way bigger than I expected as well. It was massive. Not as big as New York Sheep and Wool, but still really big. Bigger than Indie Untangled. And I think there were more people there as well. And it was a larger venue. The venue was gorgeous. Oh my gosh, it was beautiful. It was like right by the water. They had live music. They had tons of like food trucks, although the food was tough to get there. I think they had a lot more people than they had food at Wool & Folk. But it was a longer thing. It was like noon to 7 at night, and we were only there for like a couple of hours in the afternoon. But some really great vendors there. Magpie was there, and Brooklyn General Store had like La Bien-Aimee, and there was Ritual Dyes and Farmer's Daughter fibers, and lots and lots of fun like indie dyed yarns. And so that was a really great one. I think we really enjoyed Wool & Folk. It was a great like mix of vendors, and the space was beautiful, and it was just a really enjoyable one. But I did get a couple of things at Wool & Folk. I got this yarn, which I think I was just really feeling the fluffy yarn. I was really feeling fuzzy yarn. But I got this yarn. I think this was from the Brooklyn General Store booth, and it's from Farmer's Daughter Fibers. And it is their O'Dang base, which is a Suri alpaca and silk blend. And the colorway is called Pretty Shield. And it's just the most beautiful, like, orangey red. I am obsessed with this color. I don't know. I have other stuff planned that I want to knit for sure, but this one is one where I'm almost like, I need to cast this on right away because I love it so much. Like, I love this yarn. I will probably pair it with a fingering weight yarn, but I'm even considering trying to just like hold it with itself, but I don't think I have enough to do like a full sweater if I just hold it. I guess I could hold it single, but I'm not sure. I'll probably just hold it with a fingering weight yarn of similar color. There's a Knitting for Olive color that's pretty similar that I might use to hold with it, and then I'll just make like a, I don't know, maybe I'll make a dad sweater with it. Which is, if you have not heard of that before, that is a pattern by me that is in testing right now and is coming out next month. But yeah, I'm in love with this color. So this I got from Wool & Folk, and then I also got some stitch markers there as well from Sassafras Knits, which Rochelle is just the kindest, and we have like chatted back and forth briefly on Instagram before, and I've gotten some stitch markers from her before, and she has like, I have a set of 8 like hexagons that have like one small bead on them, and so I wanted to get some options for like a beginning around marker that go with the other set that I have, and so I got this set from her. Maybe I can make it focus. There we go. So I got this set from her, which is just really cute. Several of these like more kind of beginning around type markers. This one on the end that has like the little leaf is so cute. But she was also at Wool & Folk and had like tons of markers and like little notions pouches as well, which were really cute. So you should definitely check her out she has an Instagram and I think a website as well. So you can check her out if you are interested in some really cute stitch markers. So I got that, and I think that was, oh, one thing I got at Indie Untangled that I forgot to show. It's downstairs because I got a stain on it. Actually, when I cut my finger bled a little bit, and I got a little bit of blood on it, and then I had to clean it, and it's all clean now. But okay, I'm gonna get it. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and sorry, this needle was on the couch. I don't know where that went. I forgot that I got this Crewneck sweatshirt at Indie Untangled at the Mitchell Wool Co. booth, and I love it so much, y'all. I'm obsessed with this Crewneck sweatshirt. It is so cute and it's so cozy. I just love the sheep, and I've been wearing it a ton, which hence the getting a stain on it. But it's really cute, and I love it a lot. So I got that as well at Indie Untangled. Okay, now, so that was Friday. So we had trouble getting food at Wool & Folk because they like started running out of food, and the lines were really long, and we were like in a line twice. when they said that like they ran out of food. And so we ended up actually just leaving one folk. We didn't eat until like later in the day, like 3 o'clock or so. And we just left and we got lunch at this like Italian place, and it was really good. And then we went back to our Airbnb and just like spent the evening knitting and drinking tea and like hanging out, watching. I think we watched Hocus Pocus that night. Super fun, like fall vibes, and that was super fun. Also, that first day, we did not wear matching outfits. But the next day, so Saturday, the first day of New York Sheep and Wool, so my friends and I have talked about this before, we knit matching Rhinebeck sweaters. She did 2. We did one like t-shirt or tank, and then we did one sweater. And the Saturday, the first day of New York Sheep and Wool, we wore our matching tees, tanks, and we picked Ritual Dyes Amber Resin as the color. And then everyone picks like a different pattern. So I shared this on the podcast a while ago. I finished this one actually quite a bit ahead of time. But I knit a slanty stripes, which is a pattern by me, but I knit it without the stripes. So it's just like a solid color. And my friends all knit like super cute tees and vests and tanks. And I will put a picture up of all of us together here. But that was really fun, and like matching was so much fun. Like when we went to Rhinebeck, like people loved it. People loved our matching outfits, and it's like taking pictures together was so fun. We made a little reel, which you can find on my Instagram if you're interested. But it was so much fun, and we really loved that. So we wore matching outfits on that day, and then we took it a little bit easier in the morning. We did a lot of like photo shoots and stuff in the morning, and then we got to Rhinebeck I think around like 11ish or maybe 10 something, 11, and then wow, it was wild. Saturday at New York Sheep and Wool was insane. Like it was crazy. There were so many people there. I got in there and like internet and phone service was just like not really a thing. Like just there were maybe times when you could get it a little bit, but there were so many people there that it was just like impossible to contact anyone. It was so crowded. I got to go and spend a little bit of time with Jess at the Bat and Kill Fibers booth. So Jess is the owner of La Mercerie, and she was able to bring Ampersand, which is our in-house yarn, and also the yarn I used to knit this sweater. She was able to bring that yarn to show at the Bat and Kill Fibers booth, which Bat and Kill Fibers is the name of the mill that we work with to make Ampersand. And so I got to go spend some time with her there and got to meet some people there that it was like really fun to meet. And yeah, that part of it was really fun. And then we went into so they had like the way that New York Sheep and Wool is set up, there are just like tons of these like buildings. I think they call them like, you know, barns. They're just these really large buildings that have vendors in them. And so you like to see all the vendors, you have to go in multiple of these buildings. And so we started out just like going through a couple, and some of the buildings were so packed that like you could barely walk. I mean, you were just standing and you're just like waiting for people to move forward a little bit so that you could move forward. Like it was packed. It was hard to see anything that you wanted to see and like to get to where you want. Like it was so packed, and I definitely, like, just being completely honest with you all, I definitely got overstimulated. Like it was really hard for me to function well in that kind of setting, and like trying to stay with my friends, and like we were all like had different stuff we were trying to look at, and it felt really hectic. And so I know that I was not my best, my sharpest in that moment, and like accepting that and being like forgiving of myself for that is something I'm still managing. But yeah, it was really hectic. But there were still some really, really beautiful things. On my first day at Rhinebeck, I think what helped me a little bit is I had a couple of things that I knew I was interested in looking for before I came. So a couple of yarns or like projects, like patterns that I had in mind that I was like maybe looking at like finding yarn for. Sorry, I think I'm gonna sneeze again. Excuse me. So, and that was something that we did, like my friends and I did the night before, or like Thursday night before we started going to the yarn events, was we all talked about like patterns we were interested in maybe shopping for, or like yarns we really wanted to see, or like places we wanted to make sure that we got to visit. And so having a little bit of a plan before going in, I think really helped. You know, I didn't feel the need to like know exactly what I was going to buy everywhere, but still just having like, okay, I'm interested in checking out this booth, or I kind of want some yarn like this or whatever. And so then when you see it, you're like, oh, okay, this fits my plan. And I think that really helped narrow down, because there's so many options. There were so many yarns, there were so many booths. It was overwhelming. And so it's hard. I went to my Saturday crafternoon after coming back from Rhinebeck yesterday? No, 2 days ago. And one of the folks there was like, so how do you decide what to buy? And I was like, honestly, that is a great question, and I do not know how to answer that, because there are so many options that like, and everything's, I mean, there's so much that you love that's beautiful. It's hard to know like, okay, is this the thing that I want? Like, I don't know. So I guess I'll just say, I think coming in with a plan was really helpful for that as well. So one of the things that was on my plan is I really wanted to see the Harrisville Designs, I think is what they're called. The Harrisville Designs booth. They have a couple of yarns that I was really interested in. One was the Harrisville, they do daylights and nightshades, and nightshades was first, I think it's basically like a black yarn, and they spin a little bit of a color into it. So they have a whole bunch of different colors. There's like a black that has a little bit of blue, a black that has a little bit of green, one that has a little bit of red, one that has a little bit of brown. Like they have a whole bunch of them. And then more recently, they started it's called Daylights, which is basically the same thing with creamy white yarn, and then they put like a little bit of a color in it as well. And so this is one, it's a Cormo wool, which I have never worked with before, but my friend Bridget, who I also got to meet at Rhinebeck, and that was so lovely, but she had really recommended this yarn specifically, but also just like using Cormo in general, and I've had my eye on Cormo in the past, and I really wanted to try it. So Cormo is a sheep breed that has, I think it's like I don't know if this is how it works, but I think it's kind of like a cross between like Corriedale and Merino. Is that why it's called Cormo? I'm not sure. But it's like a really nice, still kind of like woolly, rustic-y yarn, but it's softer than like other yarns of that type that you might think of. And so I did get some Daylights. I wasn't sure going in what color I would want. I really had my eye on the yellow one called Over Easy, and then the other one I thought about was Bloodshot, which is the one I ended up getting. But when I saw them in person, I was like, Bloodshot is definitely the one for me. I love it. So let me show you close up what it looks like. So I got a sweater quantity. I got 4 skeins. But look at that. Isn't it gorgeous? It's like cream, but it just has these little bits of the red color in it. And this colorway is called Bloodshot. So it's the creamy white with red in it. And I love it so much. I'm not quite sure what I want to make. There was a pattern that they had at the, oh, come back to me. There's a pattern they had at the Harrisville booth. Please. Come back. Oh, why? Why? Please focus on me. What else could you be focusing on? I'm right here. Please, if I move rapidly, will that help? Okay. Are we back? There we go. Okay. They had a pattern, and I think I have the card for it. They had this pattern. Yeah, it's called Flynn, which is a beautiful cabled sweater that I really loved. It looks like a raglan as well. And so I might make this with it, but I also am really feeling like cardigan. And there are a couple options I'm thinking about. The Bookish cardigan, or Bookish cardi, I don't remember who it's by. is like a cabled cardigan that I'm thinking of. And then also Kate Davies had a new book come out that has some beautiful patterns that I really love, a lot of them. And my friend Maya was thinking about making one of those cardigans, and I love to make matching sweaters, so I might make that one. It's also steeked, and I've never steeked before, so I'm thinking maybe this would be a fun one to steek with. So I might do that with this yarn, but I might do that with something else. I don't know. It's hard. I love pullovers, so it's hard for me not to want to just make a pullover, and this cabled pullover is just so beautiful. So I might do that. I think I only got enough to make the cropped length, but that's fine. I only want the cropped length. So yeah. So that's what I got at day 1 at Rhinebeck. And then we did get some food there, and wait, sorry, I'm about to hit 30 minutes, so I'm going to stop this and restart it, and then I'll talk to you about the best Brussels sprouts of my life. Okay, I'm back to talk about Brussels sprouts. So there was this one like food booth that it was just crispy Brussels sprouts, crispy fried Brussels sprouts with garlic aioli. And it was so good. So good. I'm definitely a Brussels sprouts person. I love Brussels sprouts. I don't think I ate them a ton as a child. I don't know, maybe my parents were just like, kids hate Brussels sprouts. Like, this is not the right food for children. But as an adult, I love Brussels sprouts. We make them all the time, lots of different ways. But this one they had at Rhinebeck, they were so good. It had this like cheese on top and this like garlic aioli, and they were like crispy. And anyway, so we got Brussels sprouts, we got apple cider, we got kettle corn. Oh my gosh, I love kettle corn. I need to be in more situations where I can buy kettle corn because I really like it. I feel like I remember as a child that my papa, my like grandpa, he used to make kettle corn, and I'm wondering now, like, how easy is it to do that? Like, can I do this? Like, should I make homemade kettle corn? Because yes to kettle corn. But so like Rhinebeck fair food was good. It was great. The next day we ate before we went, but then I also am pretty sure, or was this the first day? No, I think it was the next day. We got more apple cider, and also I got a pickle, just like a whole pickle on a stick. There was this one booth that just had a whole bunch of different flavored pickles, which was so tasty and fun. I am personally very much a pickle person. I love pickles. There was also, in the area, there was a pickle festival happening, and it was hard to not advocate that we make a stop at the pickle festival, but we had plenty of other festivals to attend, so we did not end up going to Pickle Fest, but I love pickles, so I considered it. But yeah, that was mostly the first day at Rhinebeck. We went back that night, and I think was that the night that we did our puzzle? One of my friends, Katie, brought a puzzle to our Airbnb, which was such a good idea, and then one night we just like did a puzzle, and that was really fun. So yeah, that was great. The next day was the last day at New York Sheep and Wool. We wore our matching Rhinebeck sweaters. So this is the day that I wore my Piazza tee / Piazza sweater. And my friends knit some really beautiful sweaters. One of my friends actually knit the dad sweater, which is my design, and is being tested right now. And she tested it for me and used the Ampersand yarn, and it turned out beautifully, and I just love it so much. And it was just, that was really fun as well. And then we had, like, each of us just knit something different. Like, one of us knit a cardigan, and like Sylvia knit a v-neck, and like a v-neck cabled sweater. And then like we had another one, Charlotte's was like a really beautiful like lace design with baubles, like lace and cable design with baubles, and it just was really fun to see everyone's different personalities kind of come out through in the pattern choice. It was, I just really loved it. So I'll put a picture up, or I may have already, of our matching Rhinebeck sweaters for day 2 of New York Sheep and Wool. Sorry, I've got some fluff on my mouth. But that was really fun, again, to match. And then we got to take a picture also with Jess. She was wearing a Ampersand sweater as well. And so we got to take pictures together. And then Sunday, day 2 of New York Sheep and Wool was so much different. It was so different. It was so much calmer. there were so many fewer people there. I think a lot of people went just on Saturday and then like we're flying back or we're doing other things on Sunday. And so it was a lot calmer. And so the vendors still had like a lot of stuff left. And so I think if I go again, I think Sunday is going to be more of like the shopping day for me because it was just so much easier to go around and see things. And yeah, I maybe Saturday is like a good meetup day, like spend a lot of the day trying to meet up with friends. And Sunday is a better day to actually like do the shopping because trying to shop on Saturday was crazy. But we did go there. I missed it, but my friends went and watched, like, there was like a frisbee dog thing that was happening that was apparently like really incredible, and I'm sorry I missed it, but we also went around and we saw like the sheep and the alpacas and the animals. That part was really fun. I can try to put some pictures up here as well of that. All together, it was just like, we had a really good time. I think on Sunday it was like much more reasonable. We got really lucky with the weather. The weather was beautiful. Yeah, and I bought a couple more things on day 2 on Sunday. So one thing I got was this bag I talked about. This is from Natura, and those of y'all that have been watching for a while know that I'm obsessed with ferns. I really, really love ferns. And excuse me, this bag has ferns on it, and I saw it and was immediately like, I have to have this. So I got the bag. And I also got, Hannah, if you're watching this, my sister, please skip ahead a little bit as well, because this is also for a gift for you. So skip ahead. Hopefully she's gone now. But I also got this yarn from Zeilinger, which I had never heard of before, but they had a beautiful booth with some really beautiful, just like natural wools. And I got this one. It's their fingering weight, 100% American wool blend. And it is really soft. Like, it feels way softer than I expected, but it is still kind of like that rusticy feel. And so this is my plan to make Hannah's mittens. So I can show this will be the mitten liner. Will be like this gray color. And then I'll do like a bright white or like creamy white mitten on top, which I think will just be like a really fun winter cozy vibe. I'm hoping she loves it. So, okay, sorry, more stitches are falling off, as always with this. I should just put stitch stoppers on it. That would be smart. So yes, I got this wool, and I got that bag, and is that everything? I think that may be everything I got. So that's the haul. That's the Rhinebeck haul. We took pictures of the whole haul of like everyone from our group, so all 5 of us, all of Pacific Knit West. We took a picture of all of our yarn together at the end, and I'll put a picture of that up on the screen. We got a lot of yarn. It was quite a lot, and it was really fun to see like everyone's different color palettes and like everyone's different yarns that they picked out. So that was really fun. Yeah, I'm trying to think about what else there is to say. We left, we came back on Sunday night, and then we left on Monday. Saturday night, oh no, Saturday wasn't puzzle night because that was the night that maybe Friday was puzzle night. Saturday night was the Mariners game, which was horrifying. If you do not follow baseball, you probably don't know what happened, but this was the first playoff game in Seattle in like 20 years. I was heartbroken to not be there. It was really hard for me to not be there. I was so excited to be in New York with my friends and to be at Rhinebeck, like that I'd been looking forward to for so long, and I was so happy to be there. So I don't want you to think that that I didn't love that, but I really wanted to be there for the game. And so it was really hard for me to not be there, but Nofis, my husband, was there because he had come back to Seattle earlier, and so he was there, and that game was insane. So we watched it after we got back from Rhinebeck for the day. We put the game on, and it was insanely long. It was an 18-inning game. I think it finally ended after 18 innings, and the Mariners ended up losing, and that was the game that eliminated them for the playoffs, so that was really hard to see, but 0-0, like no score into like the 18th inning. Nafis actually had to leave before the game ended because he had to get home to like let Norman out and like take him to go to the bathroom and stuff. But just like a heartbreaking game, like truly heartbreaking to watch. So that was what we did on Saturday night. And then Sunday night we watched Hocus Pocus 2, which is a new movie I had not seen yet, and it was really fun. I really enjoyed. And yeah, and then Monday we just like took a slow morning, drank our tea, and we went back. We had a little bit extra time. We got to stop for lunch, and we stopped at like a little coffee shop and did some knitting. And then we made our way to the airport. We flew back out of Newark, and then we flew home. It was a long flight, like a 6-hour flight home. And then I got home really late on Monday night. And yeah, that's been it. So that was our trip. I'm sure there's pieces that I left out that I wanted to talk about. I'm trying to look through my list that I made myself of everything that I bought. I talked about the buttons. Yeah, it was a wild trip. I really loved so much of it. I think there were parts that were more challenging than I expected, just like with it being so crowded. Okay, I'm back. I don't know how long I have. I should actually make sure that I can see my camera battery on here. I knew that since this was going to be a long episode, I knew that it was likely that it was going to get dicey at the end, and it is. I'm pretty sure I ran out of room on my memory card, and then my battery died, and now my computer battery is dying, and it's just, everything is telling me that I need to wrap it up. But I still have a lot of stuff I want to talk to you guys about. So, I don't even remember what I was saying before when I got cut off. I think I was just saying that I really enjoyed going to Rhinebeck. I think it was definitely an experience that I wanted to have, and there was so much about it that I really loved. There were parts that were challenging, but it was still just like so much fun, and I think I'm definitely open to going again. We'll see if I end up going next year or what that looks like, but I did have like a really good time. So yeah, I probably forgot some stuff. I probably forgot to share something that I did or share something that I bought, or I don't know, something I'm probably forgetting. But for the most part, I think that is pretty much a wrap on Rhinebeck, on New York Sheep and Wool. And yeah, if you want to see more pictures, definitely check out my Instagram. I've been sharing a lot this week of like the outfits that I wore and the yarn that I bought and everything. So definitely check that out if you are interested. And otherwise, let's talk about, I have other acquisitions that I bought. I actually bought before I went to Rhinebeck, and they arrived while I was gone. And I have other life stuff to talk about. So let's get into it. Other acquisitions I bought from the Grisaille anniversary update. So she has like a 15% off sale every year for the anniversary of Grisaille's anniversary as like a yarn company. And I almost always buy something from the anniversary sale, and this year is no different, but I got a couple of things. One I got was, I guess I'm really into the fluffy yarn right now. Oh my gosh, the focusing. I turned my head. Like what? Okay. I guess I am really, really into fluffy yarn right now, but I did buy 3 skeins on the Sari alpaca and silk base in the color Nacht Music, which is one of my very favorite colors. I love this like dark tealy blue. It's just really, really beautiful. I have knit a sweater out of this yarn. I knit my original stripy turtle tank, has this color as the main color. This is just one of my very favorites, and so I had to have it on fluffy yarn. So I will probably, I'm not sure yet exactly what I will do with this, but I will probably hold it with another yarn and make some sort of sweater maybe, I don't know. My first Noct Music sweater is a cardigan, so maybe I'll make a pullover with this. I'm not sure. I will consider, but this is just so beautiful and I had to have it. So I got this, and then I also got one skein of Ghost, again with the turning of the head. Y'all, I don't know if it's like I have the camera set up differently after I came back. There's a button I can press to make it focus, I think. Did I accidentally turn off autofocus or something? Or turn it on? I don't know. I think we're coming back. Okay. Who knows if this will work or how long it will work for. But I also grabbed a skein of Ghost on their fingering, like their sock base, which is an 85% superwash merino, 15% nylon. And this is what I want to use for some Halloween socks. So I'm hoping, I have some other stuff I want to finish by the end of the month. And if I finish those things, I'm going to reward myself. And on Halloween night, I'm going to cast on Halloween spooky socks. So this is my type of like Halloween yarn. I feel like it's a nice creamy base with these like teal and orange. Please, you were focused. There we go. Oh, it'll do it for a second and then it leaves. Okay, is that good enough? Maybe. Why? Okay, there you can see it pretty well. So it has, the teal is almost the same teal as Noct Music, but it also has like these orange and like brown bits as well. And it's called Ghost, and so I was like, okay, definitely. These are going to be Halloween socks for me. So I think come next Monday, I'll be casting on Halloween socks, which I'm really excited about. I think will be fun. It's almost like, you know, I know I've done this, and I think some other people do this as well. It's like the Christmas Eve cast on. It's like you cast on a new pair of socks on Christmas Eve. I like this idea for like all kinds of holidays. So maybe I'll make a Halloween night cast on, like everyone cast on, or not everyone, I can't tell anyone else what to do, but I'm going to do this. I will cast on a spooky pair of socks on Halloween night. So that is the rest of my acquisitions. I got a new plant, I guess, as well. This is not a yarn acquisition. This is my plant of the month, and I have not even repotted it. It looks sad. It came while I was gone, and I have not accomplished the step of doing what I need to keep it alive. My plants are not in good shape right now, honestly. I think it's because the weather changed. Like, it's really cold here now, and I have been neglecting them. So maybe after this, I need to make sure to water my plants. After this, I have a lot of things I need to do. I need to go get vaccinated. I need to a lot of things. But this was my new plant. I don't know what it is. If anyone knows what this plant is, let me know. But this is for those that don't know, I get a new plant every month as part of a Plant of the Month club that my mom gave me for Christmas last year. So this is October's plant. Okay, that's the acquisitions. Now I'm going to talk about what's been going on in my life since we last spoke. So, where did we leave off? I last recorded shortly before I was going to St. Louis for a trip to visit family and to watch some baseball games. And that was so much fun. It was just a quick weekend. We were only there for a couple of days. We flew in, I think, Thursday night late. And then we're there Friday, Saturday. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then Sunday night, I think, is when I flew back to Seattle. Like I mentioned before, my husband, he didn't fly back to Seattle with me. He went back home to Oklahoma with the rest of my family because he was visiting some family there. And we had just like a really great quick weekend. We went to 3 Cardinals games, so that was like a lot of what we did. We visited the Arch, which I had been to before, but it was the first time going since it is technically a national park, which I don't mean to like aggravate anyone here. I hope that no one else like has, I don't know. I hope I don't offend anyone when I say that I do not understand why the Arch is a national park. It feels like the perfect case to be a national monument. Like, it's literally like a monument. Just, like, let it be a national monument. Like, why does it need to be a park? It's very small, and it just, I don't know. It does not make sense to me why it is a national park. But we did go to the national park. It's the first time since it had been designated a national park. And we got to see some other family. So my dad, a lot of his family is from that area, and so we got to see some family when we were there as well, which was really nice. And then, yeah, like, lots of baseball games, and I love that. So that was really fun. And I got to take pictures with my dad. I gave him his dad's sweater, and we got to take some pictures together. And I really love how they turned out. There's lots more, and they'll be included, like, in the pattern as well. But I will maybe just put one up here so that you guys can see it. Just a little sneak peek of what we look like together wearing our dad's sweaters. We took our pictures outside of the stadium, which I also think was really special because my dad and I have a really great bond over baseball. That's, like, the reason why I love it so much, is, like, watching it with him when I was a kid. So that was really special and really fun, and I really enjoyed that. And then, yeah, we came back. I was on my own for a week after coming back from St. Louis, and just had, like, a ton of stuff at home to take care of. I worked a couple days during that week. I had some, like, pattern stuff that I needed to take care of, so it was, and, like, I had, like, lots of packing and other stuff to do. So that was kind of a busy week for me, that little week in between. And then after that, I left for Rhinebeck for our, like, you know, New England trip. So like I mentioned before, I met in office in Boston. We flew in roughly at the same time, actually, and then we picked up a rental car, and we stayed in Boston that night. And we were both, I think, like, pretty wiped from travel and from other stuff, and so we just kind of hung out at the hotel that first night. We got this pizza. We got from, like, a place that was nearby, and it had, I'm trying to remember everything that was on it. It had butternut squash and cranberries, like dried cranberries, and, like, prosciutto, or no, it wasn't prosciutto, it was just, like, bacon, I guess, and, like, globs of ricotta and balsamic, and it was so good. It was perfect. Like, it felt very fall as well. It was, like, a very fall pizza, and we got these, like, truffle fries as well. We literally just got this, like, pizza takeout and sat on our bed in the hotel and ate pizza and watched football together. So it was a perfect, like, start. I think I had been feeling a little bit out of it from a lot of, like, a variety of reasons, and, like, I do a lot worse when Office and I are apart. He is a big source of comfort for me, and so having been apart that week, I was so happy for us to be back together, and we got to just, like, spend that night together chilling. Like, it was really low key. And then after that, we kind of hit the ground running the next day. It was Monday, and we made our way all the way up to Maine to go to Acadia National Park, but we wanted to take, like, a whole day to do that drive. It was like a 4 or 5 hour drive anyway, but we wanted to take the whole day and stop at places along the way. So we stopped first in Salem, and we got to go on, like, we did, like, our own kind of self-guided walking tour and got to go around and see a lot of the sites in Salem. If you are unfamiliar, if you haven't been before, Salem is the location of the Salem witch trials, which happened in, like, really a long time ago, like 1690s, like, really long time ago. And so they have, like, there are some, like, historic locations that are still there, and then the whole town has kind of, like, really taken on this Salem witch trials, like, personality. They had, like, a ton of little shops that had theming to go along with it, and, like, restaurants, and they had, like, Halloween festivals and all kinds of stuff. So it was really fun to just kind of, like, walk around the town and experience that. And then we drove up to Rockport, Massachusetts, which is, like, a little coastal town, and we got a lobster roll there, and I ate my first ever oyster, which was, I feel like people have really strong feelings about oysters. You either, like, really love it or you really hate it. And first, I don't know, I just feel like I felt in the middle about oysters. Like, it was slimy, but I didn't hate the texture, but I didn't love it, and the flavor was, like, fine. I don't know, maybe I'm just one of the only people that just feels medium about oysters, I guess. But we had oysters, we had a lobster roll, we got to walk around like close to the water, and that was really nice. And then we went up to Portland, Maine as well, and stopped at a lighthouse, and we went to, where else did we go? I'm trying to remember. At this point, yeah, I think we made like pretty short stops because we were trying to make our way all the way up. We stopped for dinner, and then we made it to where we stayed in Bar Harbor, Maine, which is like just like a port city really close to Acadia National Park. We were staying at like a little cabin there, which was really sweet. And yeah, the next couple of days, the next 2 days we spent at Acadia National Park. We did some hiking. We did like a little boat tour where we went out. It was like a sightseeing tour. We got on a boat and they like drove us around like Bar Harbor and the islands around there. There was one, a lot of the islands are named like was it hedgehog or porcupine? Porcupine, I think. Porcupine Island or Porcupine this or that. And there was one that was, I think, called Porcupine Sheep Island, which I thought was really cute and I liked a lot. But it was beautiful. We saw really cool nature and animals and stuff. We got to see a lot of seals. We got to see bald eagles. We saw like the lobster traps were everywhere with all the buoys for the lobster traps. It was really, really cool. And just like a really beautiful scenery. So we really enjoyed that. And then, yeah, the next day we did some hiking. We ate more fresh seafood, which was so delicious. And what else did we do? We went to the Jordan Pond house and had popovers for the first time, which I did not really know what was before, and I still can't really describe to you now. It's like this bready, eggy, airy thing that was really tasty that we ate. We hiked like around the lake. We did Beehive Trail, which is probably like the scariest hike I've ever done. You are basically like climbing up the side of these like rocks up to like the top of the mountain, and they have these like iron bars in the rock that are kind of like ladders. So if you like slip or like let go or something, you'll like fall down the mountain. So that was a little bit scary at times, but honestly it wasn't too bad. It was less scary than I expected it to be. And yeah, so we did that, and the view was incredible. We hung out at the top for a while, and yeah, I'm trying to think of what else, if there's anything else worth mentioning. Bar Harbor itself, like as a town, was just really cute. There were lots of cute shops there that we walked around. Yeah, and we just really enjoyed our time there. And then, like I mentioned, on Thursday, we drove back. We actually stopped a couple of places. We stopped in Portland, Maine again for lunch, and we ate at this place called Duck Fat that had been really highly recommended to me from multiple people, and it was really tasty. They just use, I think, instead of using like oil for a lot of their frying things, like for their french fries and for other stuff, they use duck fat, and so it has like a really unique flavor, but it was really good. So we got like french fries there. They had great sandwiches. We also got these, they were like citrus cinnamon donut holes and like fried in duck fat, and they were really tasty. They came with this like caramel sauce, and that was really good. So we had that, and then I also went to a yarn store in Portland, Port Fiber, and that was really fun to check out. And then we headed back to Boston, and when we were close to Boston, we still had some extra time, and the weather it's like stopped raining a little bit, and so we went and Northman played a quick round of disc golf at a course nearby, which was a beautiful course as well. And because I didn't have Norman, I was able to walk and knit while he was playing the course, and that was really fun. So yeah, so that was our trip. After that, I dropped him off in Boston, and that's when I started my kind of like Rhinebeck adventure, which I already talked about. So that was our Acadia trip. Okay, I'm trying to mark off the things that I talked about so that I don't forget anything. Since then, I came back. So since Rhinebeck, I came back, and it was really, really smoky in Seattle. So there was smoke. I think someone told me that last week the air quality in Seattle was the worst in the world because there were just like fires nearby, and there had not been rain in so long that it just stayed. It was like hanging around, and so air quality is really bad. I think I missed some of the worst of it because I was still in New York, but when I came back, it was really bad, and my throat, I have like a scratchy throat, and I thought that I was sick. I was worried that I had like COVID, or that I just was sick in some other way, and like Nofis, my husband, had been sick, not with COVID, just like general sick. And I was like, oh no, I'm getting sick. And then it rained, when was it? Friday. It rained on Friday. And I was actually a little bummed because we were planning on going apple picking on Friday. And I was like, oh shoot, it's gonna rain. But I'm kind of really glad that it rained because it cleaned all the smoke out, and my throat started feeling better. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess it just hurt for days because of the smoke. That is not what you want, for sure. But it is much better now. The rain came, and now it is fully fall. I feel like Nofis said when he got back from Boston, it was still like the temperature was still like in the 80s Fahrenheit, like 88 one day. And that was in like mid-October, which is just wild to me. But now we're down, it's cool again. Like it's all the way, temperature has been in the like 40s and 50s, getting down really cold at night. It's raining, so we're full on, I think, in fall now in Seattle. Excuse me. And so full on fall mode for me here. I am really, really excited about some fall activities. It feels like I'd been kind of clinging on to summer, and then after going to Rhinebeck and coming back and the weather being fall weather, like I'm fully fall mode now. Like everything we eat is good. Like we're cooking all fall foods, and we're doing all kinds of like fall activities. I mentioned on Friday I really wanted to go apple picking, and we weren't able to because it was really rainy, and we didn't want to go out and do that in the cold and the rain. But we went on Sunday instead, which was yesterday, and that was so much fun. We drove a little ways away because actually I think we were a little late for apple season. A lot of the like you-pick orchards were out of apples, and I guess a lot of people had done it earlier in the month, and so they were out of apples, a lot of the ones that are closer to Seattle. So we drove a little ways away to Bellwood Farms, which was in Lyndon, Washington, like up near Bellingham. I don't know if that means anything to any of you, but it was the cutest, sweetest little place. They had an apple orchard. They also had a pumpkin patch. They also had a distillery. So we did like a tasting there at the distillery. They also had like food and a market with like a whole bunch of apple foods, and it was so cute. And they had apple cider donuts. They had like this little tractor ride. They had a corn maze. They had all the fall things. And so we went yesterday and we just did like all the fall activities. We did apple picking. We got so many apples. Y'all, we're going to be eating apple things forever. We got so many apples, different types. We got Honey Crisp and Cosmic Crisp and some new ones that I had never heard of before. There was like, it's called Bellwood Prince, and which is probably, I guess, just like a type they have because they're Bellwood Farms. We also got Orin and Sonata, I think, were the other ones we got. So like some new to us. So I think actually I'm going to run to the grocery store on my way home from getting my COVID booster today, and I'm going to get some different types of cheeses for us, and we are going to do like an apple and cheese pairing, like tasting type thing, which I think is going to be really fun. We'll do that as like an appetizer for dinner tonight. But I also wanted to tell y'all about all the fall foods that we are making. So I got back and I was like, fall food all the way. So a fall favorite for us, we often will make pumpkin pasta. So it is a really delicious creamy pumpkin pasta sauce that uses pumpkin and like cream cheese and like half and half and Parmesan and some like good fall spices, and it's delicious. And so we did that. We had just like our pumpkin pasta for dinner last week, and then we also made our first root bake of the season. If you've never made root bake, you definitely should. Root bake is you just buy like whatever root vegetables you want. So we always do it with potatoes, butternut squash, beets, parsnips, whole cloves of garlic, and red onion. You just however much you want of all that stuff. Do a little bit of olive oil, salt and pepper, and roast it in the oven, and it's so good and it feels like fall. Like we love root bake. So we made root bake this week as well with like one of my favorite chicken recipes. It's from Damn Delicious, I think. It's the website it's from. I'll see if I can link it below. But it's like a creamy chicken with gnocchi, and the creamy sauce is basically gravy. So we call it gravy chicken. So we ate like gravy chicken and root bake, and it was like, okay, it's fall now, like it's fall time. So that was delicious. And next, like this upcoming week, we have some really good fall dishes planned. Tonight, I think we're gonna make pumpkin risotto. It's like a similar vibe to pumpkin pasta, but risotto instead. And that was something we ate. We always do this when we go on trips, or like when we eat somewhere and we love what we ate, we'll come home and we'll try to recreate it. And I had a pumpkin risotto at a restaurant in Bar Harbor when we were at Acadia, and it was really delicious. And so we were like, okay, we can do this. Like we can make pumpkin risotto. Oh my gosh, that pumpkin risotto was so good. But I also got fresh like seared scallops with it, and we got blueberry pie for dessert that night. And oh my gosh, it was so good. Okay, yes. So fall foods, we're going to make pumpkin risotto. We're also going to recreate another dish that we had on another trip when we went to Friday Harbor. We went on like our little San Juan Islands trip a couple months ago. We ate dinner at this place in Friday Harbor, and it was a homemade gnocchi with brown butter and sage sauce, and then it also had like duck and butternut squash and like walnuts and goat cheese on it. It was so good. And so we're going to try to recreate that because that also feels like a really great fall dish. So like we've done homemade gnocchi before and it's super tasty. So we're going to do that again. And we're also going to we're going to add like butternut squash and maybe some sausage rather than duck. I'm not sure. Or actually we may just do it with no meat. But like butternut squash and like walnuts and goat cheese and a brown butter sage sauce, and I think it will be amazing. Maybe we should add shallots. I always want to add shallots. I love shallots. So we're going to do that. And then because we got so many apples, we're going to make all of the apple things. So we're going to make applesauce. I'm going to make apple pie. My mom has an apple cream pie recipe, which is heavenly. It's so good. So I'm going to make probably like 2 apple pies. And take one. Whenever I make this apple cream pie, I always make a second one, and I take it to my friend, Ray, who we've been friends forever, and she always loved my mom's apple pie, and so I always make an extra one, and I take it to her because I know she loves it. So I'll probably make her an apple pie with her fresh apples as well, and make us an apple pie, and we're going to make applesauce in the crock pot, which is so easy, and if you've never done, you definitely should. It is super easy, and it makes your whole house smell so good. So we're gonna do applesauce, and then I think for brunch next week we're gonna make apple cinnamon rolls. So like a normal cinnamon roll, but you just put like cut up pieces of apple in the filling. Which would be so tasty. Oh, and also we made pumpkin pancakes for brunch yesterday, and I burnt them. Oh my gosh. I was trying something different. I was like, okay, maybe the texture will be better and fluffier if I do like a higher heat for a shorter time, but I did the high heat for too long and they got really burnt. So I felt bad about that. Only one batch was burnt, and then like the next set was fine. But crispy pumpkin pancakes we had for brunch this week. But that was really tasty with like eggs and sausage as well. And yeah, I don't know if you can tell, I'm really excited about fall foods. We already have been eating a lot of fall foods. I have tons of other stuff I want to bake. I want to make the sourdough cruffins, the cinnamon sugar cruffins. I feel like it's time for, and do that with like a pumpkin pie spice for like even more fall vibe rather than just cinnamon. Ooh, I feel like that would be really good. So maybe that's something I'll try to make next week. And yeah, we need to eat lots of apples. So we'll probably do like salads with apples in them, and just, I don't know, I was thinking about for lunch this week, maybe I'll make a loaf of sourdough, and then I'll make grilled cheeses. And have you ever had a sandwich that has thinly sliced apple in it? We had that at Bellwood Farms for lunch yesterday. And we've had it before as well, and it's so good. So I think I may just do, especially because I'm going to buy some cheeses for our like apple and cheese tasting that we're going to do tonight as well.
I think I may just make like a loaf of sourdough and then do sourdough grilled cheese with thinly sliced apples. That'll be good, right? I feel like that'll be really good. So yeah, fall foods I'm pumped for. We're gonna do like a date night this week, which I'm really, really looking forward to. I feel like, I don't know, it's fun. Like, we cook dinner and eat dinner together all the time, but it's fun to have like a dedicated date night where it's like we're gonna cook dinner together and we're gonna sit, like, we often will sit at the coffee table when we eat dinner and like watch something together. But like, we're gonna cook dinner and I'm gonna make dessert and we'll have like a drink and we're gonna go sit at the table and have like dedicated date night time together. I don't know, I feel like sometimes that's really nice. So I'm really excited about that. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm looking at my list to see what all things I talked about and what things I didn't talk about. Another thing we have planned, more fall activities, is we got a pumpkin at Bellwood Farms yesterday, and we're going to carve our pumpkin on, I think, Sunday night. And we are going to roast the pumpkin seeds. I love to roast the pumpkin seeds. I normally do one savory and one sweet, so I'll do like one that just has like salt, like garlic salt and olive oil on it, and then another one with like cinnamon sugar, which I'll probably do pumpkin pie spice and sugar. And it's just so tasty. So we'll do that on Sunday night. And yeah, we got fall donuts from Flower Box. I mentioned this earlier. Flower Box is the bakery nearby that does the most incredible filled donuts. And they had their fall flavors this week. Sorry, I'm about to get cut off, so I'm going to restart it. Okay, I have definitely been talking for too long because the amount of cuts in this, and oh my gosh. Anyway, we got Flower Box donuts, and the 4 flavors that we got were pumpkin cheesecake, Honeycrisp apple, hot chocolate, and Biscoff caramel cream. And they were so good. Oh my gosh, they were so good, and they tasted like fall, and it was just the perfect fall donuts. So I'm so far all in. I'm lighting my fall candles like every day, and it just feels like it's perfect cozy weather to like cuddle up and knit. I have a lot of other work stuff that I have to do for sure, but in addition to that, I think just making time for cozy knitting and cozy foods, and I want to take full advantage. I don't want to come to the end of this fall and be like, we missed out on this thing I wanted to do. Like, there was something I really wanted to do and I missed it, or like something I wanted to eat and we didn't make it. Like, I'm trying to be very intentional about all the stuff that we eat and the places we go and the activities we do, and like really lean in and take full advantage of the cozy fall. So yeah, I'm interested to hear what y'all have planned for the fall. If there are some cozy fall activities you have that I am not doing that you think I should be doing, I love to hear that. We also, this isn't particularly a fall activity, but when we found out that we couldn't go apple picking on Friday. So Friday is one of our weekend days because I work at the shop on Saturday. So Morphus he swaps his days and works on Saturday so that we can take Friday off together. And we weren't able to go apple picking, so we still had like our weekend day together. And so it was rainy, we couldn't really do anything outside. So it's like, okay, how are we gonna spend our weekend day together? And we started playing a new video game together. So Nafas and I love to play co-op video games. Well, we hadn't been playing any in a really long time. We hadn't played any video games together in a really long time. And then my sister and her boyfriend suggested this game called Plate Up, which I think I've talked about this on the podcast before, but if you've ever played Overcooked, is very similar. It's like different. There's kind of like a couple different components to it, but it's so much fun, and we got obsessed, and we played all day on Friday, and we even played like late into the night on Saturday night as well. We just like are so obsessed with this game, but it's really, really fun. You are working together in a kitchen, and well, I guess the way we play it, like one of you is in the kitchen, and basically you're cooking food and then like preparing food, and then you have to deliver it to folks who like you take their order, and then you deliver their food, and then they leave and you have to clean up after them. And like the aspect that's a little bit different as well is that you get to design your own kitchen, so you can put like the counters wherever you want and like put the oven wherever you want, and you get new appliances and like new stuff that you can put different places, and it's a really fun game. And it spans multiple days, whereas Overcooked was just like there were different levels and each one was a separate level. This one is like you build a kitchen, and you stay in that kitchen each day. So like you serve people one day and then like you get new stuff and you get to build onto your kitchen and then you keep going like over time. And it's really, really fun. So I definitely recommend checking that out if you have not played it before, and if you are into like co-op video games, definitely check out Played Up. Yeah, and I'm looking at my list and I think I made it through everything that I wanted to talk about. I feel like my throat is getting bad and my lips are chapped and I've been talking for an eternity, and we finally, I think, have some natural light. So I almost want to just, maybe I should just like do the whole thing again. Just show you everything again. No, I'm not going to do that. That would be crazy. But thank you so much for tuning in. And if you stayed all the way to the end of this video, you're truly a hero. Like, unbelievable that you had the patience with me to make it all the way through this. I'm really, really happy to have been able to get back in front of the camera and share with you all what I've been up to and all of my fun new yarn that I grabbed and the stuff I've been working on. And I am just really excited to go into cozy knitting season. I have way more things I'm excited about than I have time for. Like, I have so many things in my mind. I'm like, I want to knit this, I want to knit everything. I'm just really excited about everything I have planned, everything I have ahead of me. So thank you for joining this, I guess, watching, I guess, not joining really. Thank you for watching. And I hope you do lots of knitting and watch lots of baseball. It's the World Series coming up, Phillies and Astros. So I'm not super pumped for either of those teams, but if you are, I hope that you enjoy the World Series. And also, I hope you have a great week. Bye.